Iran has warned that the conflict in West Asia could spread further if the United States resumes military strikes against the Islamic Republic. IRGC spokesman Mohammad Akramenia said any renewed American action, particularly airstrikes carried out alongside Israel, would lead to a wider regional conflict. The warning comes ahead of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to Washington.
I believe that if the Americans once again fall for the Zionists' deception or move in line with them and insist on continuing the war, particularly through airstrikes, geographically, this will expand further.
The U.S. military said its naval blockade against Iran remains in full effect, but does not explain why it halted a streak of 13 nights of escalating strikes. The U.S. forces had paused strikes against Iran on Friday night. However, Iraqi air defenses did shoot down a drone near the U.S. consulate in Iraq's Erbil. Despite the pause in hostilities between U.S. and Iran, President Donald Trump has said that the country is locked and loaded. In an interview to Jerusalem Post, Trump said that Washington could escalate its military campaign to a much higher level if necessary. But he added that his preferred option remains a negotiated agreement. Iran's Revolutionary Guards have also issued a fresh warning to UK, saying the country could become a definite and legitimate target if it supports the US in any war with Tehran. They added that US bombers had recently used British airfields. On the other hand, Iranian oil minister said that Tehran sold $18 billion worth of oil during war and subsequent ceasefire with the US. The minister said that the sales generated more than 60% of the oil revenue forecast in Iran's annual budget. He explained that reduced risk to tanker traffic helped boost exports. Meanwhile, Yemen's Houthi rebels launched missile and drone salvos against Saudi Arabia's oil facilities, as fighting between allies of the US and Iran intensified on a new front. In a video statement, military spokesman Yahya Sari said the rebels targeted sites operated by the Saudi oil giant Aramco in Jazan and Yanbu. In response to Saudi airstrikes on the strategic Red Sea city of Hodeidah. Earlier, the rebels' media had said a strike on Jazan had sparked fires. A video circulating on social media showed dark clouds rising above a refinery belonging to Aramco in the city.
We affirm that the naval blockade imposed on the Saudi enemy remains in effect in response to its ongoing aggression and its unjust siege, which has continued for the past 12 years. We will not hesitate to expand our operations and escalate our actions in line with developments over the coming hours and days, in accordance with the equation of siege for siege and escalation for escalation.
Saudi Arabia made no direct comment on the attack, but the kingdom's civil defense issued warnings for Jazan as well as Yanbu. A surface-to-air battery operated by Greek personnel in Saudi Arabia downed 2 ballistic missiles and later a drone launched from Yemen. It is also important to note that the strategic significance of the attack. el-Mandeb carries close to 7.4 million barrels of oil a day, roughly 7% of global output. Absorbing Hormuz's overflow, the shipments from Yanbu alone already jumped from under 1 million barrels a day to nearly 4 million. If both choke points are shut simultaneously, analysts warn a quarter of the world's oil and gas supply could be at risk. As the fighting escalated on the new front, Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi said that there was no military solution to the escalating conflict between Saudi Arabia and the Houthi rebels in Yemen. Araghchi insisted that Tehran could not be blamed for the situation and called for dialogue. The renewed conflict between the Houthis in Yemen and Saudi Arabia, which had largely been frozen since a UN negotiated truce in 2022, flared up this month when the rebels declared a blockade of Saudi ports and claimed attacks on Saudi tankers.
First, The Yemeni armed forces declare a maritime embargo